traders? Welcome back to another video. And in this video, we're going to talk about volume footprint chart. What you see in front of you is an example of a volume footprint chart. This green candle right here with all of these numbers right beside it on the right side is volume. And then also we have a profile as well connected to this candlestick. But in order to talk about volume profile, we first have to talk about areas of interest. So before we get here, let's focus on one day, which is going to be last Friday, August the 29th. But before we can even talk about this, let's talk about market profile and why volume profile is so important. So first, market profile. From last Thursday, we're talking about Friday the 29th. But before we can talk about Friday the 29th, we need to see what happened in the previous session since the market opened in balance, which is inside of the previous session's high and low. So the Thursday the 28th, I have this area marked because participants drove price all the way up to 236.95, 98, and then tried it again at 236.55, tried it here at 11:30 at 236.36, again at 12, again at 12:30, again at 2 o'clock, again at 2:30, again at 3 o'clock, and then finally the last half hour of the market, they try to drive price all the way up to 336.85 before failing. So what you see here is price trying to go into an area, then reject it multiple times. So this is an area where participants did not feel comfortable buying this asset, which is IWM. And you can do this for anything any auction that you want to participate in is fine. But for this example, IWM, this is an area where other participants of IWM did not feel comfortable buying higher or buy the higher 236s or even in 237. So this is the context that we need to focus on in order to go to the volume profile. So now that we have that understood for what happened on Friday, let's go to the actual volume footprint chart, which is here. And you can see I have this area already marked that we saw in market profile. It's roughly 237.02 down to 236.39. And already you can see, just looking at the candlestick itself, price tried to go back into that area, and you see that wick back down. As if we continue on, price at 920 and 910 and 915 and at 905 for 910, 910, 915, 920, 925. Price trying to do it again, and then ultimately at 925 gets rejected. Okay. So that's the context of the market profile. But for this video, we want to talk about volume footprint profile, volume footprint chart. So hopefully you guys are seeing that we're also seeing a standard candlestick, but on the right side of that, we're seeing some numbers. So I have mine set to volume. So everything you see on here is volume of the market. Now you can have bid and ask, you can have actual trades, you can have delta. It's really up to you, but this is the volume footprint. Okay. So as you can see, just focus on this green candle. There was a lot of volume between here and there. All right. Right here. A lot of positive delta, positive volume right at the top of this candle with a whole lot of volume. I mean, 2,900, 3,400. Or 34,000, 29,000, 25,000, 11,000. But price ain't going nowhere. There was a rejection, right? With all of that volume, you would expect price to continue to go up. That is telling me there's some buyers here, but that's about to get trapped by or a wall of buyer, aggressive buying coming up against passive selling, right? So that's a great indication that this area right here, 237.02 to 237.40, is that area that we saw in the market profile here, where we said prices tried to go up to higher 236, but couldn't, there was no other buyers willing to buy higher than that. All right. They tried it again at 10 o'clock on the 28th, couldn't do it. They tried it again 11:30, 12 o'clock, 12:30, 2 o'clock, 2:30, 3 o'clock, all the way to the last 30 minutes of cash open. At cash close, they tried to push it again at 236.84, but there were no buyers there. So that is an area we need to focus on. After analyzing the market, now we want to go to the volume profile chart to see that happen now. Power of now. We want to see the past, and we also want to see what's happening now. All right. So, like I said, before cash opened, an hour before at 8:30, there was a big wall, a big aggressive buyers here, amount of buyers here that would not or tried to push the market higher, price higher, but nobody was willing to buy here. Okay. So if we were to delete that, knowing that there was aggressiveness here, aggressiveness right here. All these aggressive buyers are trying to push the market higher, but getting hit by passive sellers. Again, in this candle 910, the power of volume footprint. We can see actual buyers trying to push the market higher as there was some aggression here. There's some aggression here. These are all aggressive buying, right? Trying to push price higher up into the 236s or even the 237s. Okay. So if we delete these, knowing that those aggressive buyers, and these are passive sellers here. The last 30 minutes or last 5 minutes before cash open at 9:25, we get a clue. Some aggressive selling right there. And this is something you won't see in a standard candlestick, but you're going to see either volume footprint chart or you'll see it in the bid and ask. But these are aggressive selling coming in now, right? We saw this aggressive buying coming up against passive selling. They tried to push that price above into the 237s, but nobody was willing to buy IWM in this example um, at 237 or the high 236. And then right before cash open, what do we see? We start to see some selling come into the market that confirms that we are seeing aggressive buying into passive selling. So once those orders get hit and become market orders, those limit orders become market orders at cash open. Price open, what roughly they open at 236.75. Again, it tried to go outside of that area, right? Remember that 237.02 down to 236.39. That was that area we saw in market profile where they tried many times to see if there were buyers willing to buy the high 236 or even the 237s, but there was nobody willing to buy that, as we saw in our analysis in the market profile. Now the footprint is telling you this in real time. So imagine this is happening in real time. All of these numbers get populated in real time. This is a 5 minute rotation, so every candle is 5 minutes. And you're seeing this happen in real time. The power of now, right? This is happening now as it's happening. So imagine this is cash open. This is happening right there in front of your eyes, right? We see that this areas where no one was willing to buy from. We see buyers continuing to try to buy up here, testing the market to see if there's more buyers willing to pay the higher price. And you can see there's nothing there in the first clue before the market opened right here. That should tell you right there in the volume profile, nobody was willing to buy. Some aggressive selling is going to that's making sure that nobody is going to buy, or at least that the price is not going to go higher into the 236s or even the 237s in this case. As market open, they tried to push it up. And again, nobody's willing to buy there, so it dropped. Came back to it the third 5 minutes. Again, aggressiveness. Nobody is willing to push the price up here. No participants is willing to buy IWM in the high 236 or even the 237s. So if price drops and continues to drop, finally out of that area, tried it again here at 10 o'clock. Then, I mean, it just fell out of bed at that point, all the way down. You can see aggressive selling happening along the way, aggressiveness there. I mean, bigger players coming in. Here's a great example. A bigger buyer tried to push price higher, but got trapped. All right. There are more buyers trying to test it, but got trapped. That's what should have been the biggest clue before those buyers got in there is the candle before. Look at all of this 18,000, almost 19,000 sellers in this candle. That should have been the clue. All these buyers that absorbed and the price dropped down. The power of volume is amazing. It is it it gives you more information than the standard candlestick ever would. This is trading view, volume profile on trading view. You can use the volume like I do. And the reason why I use volume over bid and ask because bid and ask doesn't really give you the full picture. It can be manipulated just like the depth of market. Volume cannot be hidden. No big player can hide volume, so why not use it? So that's why I use it. But if you wanted to use the bid and ask, so change it. I'll show you the settings here. So just go up to whatever ticker symbol you want to look at. I believe actually that is not it. Let me go back to here. It is the TPO delta. No, I was right. I'm sorry. Footprint here, volume, settings, and then yep, and then we change it from type. I have it delta, which is the volume. Delta green is buying, red is selling. You can do bid and ask or Trading View calls it buy and sell, which just basically shows you, let me get out of here. It shows you on the right side is the buyers, left side is the sellers. Or you can, I believe there is another setting that you can look at it as well. Let's see if it would allow me to go to the settings. There we go. All right, settings. You can look at total, which is total of trades. I don't think total trades help out that well. All you're doing is seeing the total of trades that happened in the price point. It doesn't tell you if buyers are in there or sellers. And then the latter is the same thing, right? Buyers on one side, sellers on the left side, buyers on the right side. I delta because that's actually telling you the volume as well as the sellers red, buyers green, and who's in control of that candle. All right, guys. Well, I hope that helps. Short video, but I hope that gives some insight on volume footprint chart and why it's important, why you should use it over standard candlesticks, how it gives you more information, a hell of a lot more information than any standard candlestick would. As long as you put it into context, like we showed at the beginning of the video, where we saw other participants did not like to buy IWM in this instance or this example in the high 236 or 237s. They tried it many times. So that should be some kind of analysis to tell you, well, other participants did not like price that high. So the likelihood of us continuing to go higher is not there. So now that we saw the past, now let's see what's happening now, right? The power of now. We're seeing aggressive buyers like we see it not at 8:30 here. aggressive buyers, but getting met with passive sellers. These buyers are getting absorbed by passive sellers. Okay. Let's see if I can give you another example. As we said earlier, again, aggressive buying here, there, aggressive buying here. And as soon as we get to almost at cash open, here's that big clue. Aggressive buying is again getting absorbed. It tried, actually, that was the wrong one. It tried to go to 237.19 or 237.18 at the high. But look, all of that was no. There's some bigger player out there or bigger players that said no. No one is willing to buy up here. What's happening is that we're going to sell. The biggest clue of at least Friday, biggest clue is that we will sell. Hour of now. This was happening at 9:25, at 9, at 9:15, at 5 minute rotations. These were happening as the market was preparing to open. Hi guys. Hope this was a great video. Hope this sheds some light on why market profile and volume footprint profile is important. It's a great tool to use. Anything outside of any type of footprint, whether it's bid and ask or volume, it's just completely guessing. All right, take the guessing out of your trading and start actually using data, market generated information. All right. All right. Have a great one. We'll see each other on the next video. Until then.